Then I said my goal was to do a top 10, come out with a big result, but minimum a top 10 was because last year 14, then this year I wanted to do the top 10. But I said, yeah, but it would be nice to win. I said it a bit as a joke, but then no one laughed. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, they really believe in it. And then, yeah, it really gave me a lot of belief. So, yeah.
Welcome to the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast. I'm Matthew Pioro. Joining me is web editor Matt Hansen. Welcome, Matt.
Checking in.
And also features writer Jake Williams. Hello, Jake.
I'm also here. Hello, Matthews.
Why are you here again?
You know, you were away, and I kind of had to step in, and, you know, we are honestly happy to have you back, because there was a void. I felt it.
That's my point. I'm back, so...
awkward.
In this episode, the feature interview is with world champion Magdeleine Vallières Mill. As you all know, listeners, unless somehow you've been away for the past 2 months not paying attention to cycling, Vallières Mill won the World Championship race in Kigali, Rwanda this past September. She is the first Canadian to win an elite road world championship. It has surprised many in the cycling world, including Vallières Mill herself. There are folks, though, who probably weren't so surprised, but you'll hear more about all of that and what went behind this historic win. You'll hear about that in just a moment. But first, guys, let's catch up. It's been a minute. Matt, I have been using a new hex and torque wrench set. It came to the office via Feedback Sports. It's really cool. It's modular T-handles, and it's all held in this nice tool roll. It's been a pleasure to use when working on bikes. But recently, Matt Hansen, the 2mm bar or arm went missing.
It wasn't me.
Usually, when tools like this, especially hex wrenches, go missing, I do know it's your fault. But this time, I can only blame myself.
Well, it frightens me too, because as a child growing up with 2 brothers and a father with Allen Keith hex wrenches, my dad had many sets, and the 5mm was always gone. And so when you get mad at me, it's a lot like, it's like, oh wow, I remember this.
There's very few things that are as crazy making as an incomplete tool set, whether it's like sockets and or screwdrivers. It's just when you have that one tool missing from your set, it's horrible. What's particularly anger-making about this one is this set is brand new. So anyway, I knew it wasn't you. It was all my fault. And but there's good news. There's great news here. I found the missing piece. It was only missing for 24 hours, and I found it in my kid's boot, which makes perfect sense.
So it was your child's fault.
No, it's still my fault. It's actually my fault that it got there. But anyway.
Was there a BOA dial in the boot that you were adjusting with that 2mm? Or?
The way it got there, it's not important, but we have a happy. And I will say so my review of the Feedback Sports hex set, and there's also Torx in there, is that the tools are fabulous, joy to use. The tool roll, I don't know, that 2mm arm there, it's a runner. So you gotta, I've got tape in there now. It's kind of kludgy. It takes away from the overall look, but I'm not losing that guy again.
Can we cancel tool rolls? I think we have this romantic idea of the tool roll, and everything rolls up, and it's, you know, very bohemian and elegant. But the reality is, I've had several tool roll saddlebags, and I am not unfamiliar with said tool roll saddlebag coming undone mid-ride, looking down behind my bike and seeing this flap of material devoid of any and all of my tools and tube and everything. So yeah, not a fan. I'm more of a conventional bag kind of guy.
I think I'm with you there. I feel like the tool roll, like you can get your Geppetto vibes however you want, but if you want your tools to be where you left them, yeah, maybe you need a more secure carrying device. All right, well, I'm glad we settled that. We're starting with the hard-hitting, serious stuff first. We're going to get, actually, maybe we're going to keep on the not-so-hard-hitting. Jake, I'm gonna let you talk about your favorite subject.
Yes.
The local cyclocross race that you put on, or you part of the group that puts it on here in Toronto. It ran just recently. I was there for the day, hanging out. It's, we'll start by saying shout outs to all the organizers who put on these events. I know it's hard, and we in the cycling community appreciate it. Here in Toronto, it's good. It's kind of amazing to have a race in the city. So Jake, thanks to you and the team for doing that. That was a fun day out for cycling fans here.
Right. Yeah, I mean, hey, it's always fun to bring, our eclectic sport of cyclocross to the heart of the city, and Christie Pitts is obviously a fantastic stage. This year we did have over 300 timed racers, so 363 to be exact. We had a number of categories. We had friend of the bike race, Sydney McGill, come out to race as well, as she is heating up her cyclocross campaign coming from USCX and not potentially, but definitely going to Europe. But yeah, it was a great day. Fantastic weather, food trucks. We had traditional Dutch fries. We had grilled cheese. I'm just salivating thinking about it. We had some beer going on. There was some heckling. It was just a fantastic day. So yeah, thank you for allowing me the platform to speak about my favorite topic. As I sit here, listeners can't see this in my Christie Cross hat, which is always affixed onto my head. So yeah, it was a great day. And thanks for coming. What did you think? What was your highlight?
I thought it was great. But I should also mention that listeners will probably hear your gravelly voice because you were emceeing the day. You were racing that day. No, it was a great event. It was, fun to watch, fun to heckle. Of course, there was costumes out.
I will say, check out the Canadian Cycling Magazine Instagram for a very funny reel about what racing early in the morning looks like, because it provides some very specific challenges to the early morning racers. Typically in the categories that are more beginner, they're often faced with sometimes the hardest course challenges. And that's all I'll say. I won't spoil anything. And listen, we are still holding you to, I know a few podcast episodes ago, Magdeleine Rochette urged you to come out and to hang out at a cross race. So you did oblige, but we did not see you on the race course. And I know you're still recovering, but, we very hotly anticipate that return.
Yeah, no, I had a bit of FOMO for sure. I have excuses, but they're not interesting. I didn't race, but no, I definitely want to race again. Sydney McGill, as you mentioned, was there. She absolutely killed the elite women's race. She won it handily. And she does have seemingly a pretty big season ahead. She's got to defend her Pan Am Championship title. I spoke with her briefly after the race, and she noted that Magdeleine Rochette is going very well. So the Pan Am Championship race will be hotly contested. Magdeleine was racing in the U.S. this past weekend at the really rad Festival of Cyclocross. She had a tough day one, but she won that one, going head-to-head against Raf Carrier. And then day two, Magdeleine Rochette pulled out of that race. She just was fatigue and was catching up with her, and she thought after a not-so-great, 1.5 laps, she was like, nope, I've got to look at the season as a whole, and this isn't the race to battle on to the end.
Turns out selling books is hard work. I get it. Not that I've ever written or sold a book, but she's been grinding. Kudos to her.
Have you read a book, Jake?
I thought about it. I was given a book for Christmas, and I looked at it and I went, well, that looks good.
A lot of words.
So she's running that whole tour of hers. So between events, activations, book signings, and racing, I don't know. That's a bigger endurance sport on top of an endurance sport.
On the note of the women's race, Sydney didn't actually win by that much. I believe it was 8 or 9 seconds to the runner-up, Alexa Haviland, who is having quite the season herself from the Durham Shredder. So keep an eye out for her maybe, at Nationals or just in Canadian cyclocross going forward.
All right, Jake. No, that's a good point. Thank you for adding that extra detail. Also on the men's side, it was local boy Noah Ramsey, Alpecin de Koning development team rider. Listeners will remember him from an episode earlier in the year about his Zwift Academy win. He was duking it out with Brody Sanderson from up north there near Aurelia. Brody Sanderson has had let's say a challenging past year and a bit, dealing with an artery issue in his in his leg behind his knee. But both of those guys raced really well, really hard, and it came down to a sprint right to the line with Sanderson getting the win. Other news in the world of cycling, there was the Track World Championships just recently, and for those wearing the maple leaf, it wasn't that great. I'll just say it like it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to put maple syrup on this one, guys. It not since 2020 has Canada walked away without a medal. I feel like the biggest news was before this event with Dylan Bibick and the, what do we call it, litigation. There was an arbitrator involved. Dylan Bibick was not selected, and it just didn't seem to make sense not to bring the 7th ranked rider in the world to the World Championships. And the arbitrator found the selection process, now this isn't legal jargon, this is my interpretation, it was sketchy, and it seemed to indicate bias and a lack of transparency. So Bibick did get to go to the World Championships, where it was challenging for him, as it was for most of the Canadian riders. The top performer was Lauriane Genet. She made it into the quarterfinals in the sprint, and she was 8th in the Keirin. Track rider and Olympian Michael Foley wasn't there. You know where he was? He was at the wedding of Ruby West and Derek G. That power couple of Canadian cycling got married on October 25th. Finally, let's touch on the Canadian Cycling Hall of Fame. I should add, the Canadian cycling in that phrase is not this magazine, this outfit. It is run by Cycling Canada, and they have a Hall of Fame. It's been going on for quite a few years now. The latest entries have been announced. The big names, the ones that are probably most familiar to everyone, there is Catherine Pendrell, 2-time world champ, Olympic medalist, all kinds of, her palmares are crazy. And Swain Tuft is on that list as well. Matt, there's a connection there, one that's maybe a little more personal for you, 2 gentlemen that were added to that list.
Yeah. The founders of Symmetrics, Kevin Cunningham, who's no longer with us, and his brother Mark, they're both in the founders. So that was nice to see. And I think it's, I've talked about this before about how Symmetrics is such an important team because not only did it develop riders, but it also kind of restored people's careers. Like Eric Wolberg was kind of on the way out. Swain was completely on the way out. He was digging ditches, more or less, when Kevin Cunningham said, "You should start racing again." The rest is history. He went on to the Tour and the Giro and Christian Meyer. So yeah, no, it's a huge legacy for Canadian cycling. So it's nice to see both of them get their due, as well as the late Roger Subner, another British Columbian who's instrumental with a lot of cyclists in BC, and Sarah Neal. So yeah, no, it's a good mix.
From the past to the future, or the now of cycling, Magdeleine Vallières Mill. I spoke with her before she left Girona for Canada. This was just a few weeks ago. She was going to take a break. Things were just so busy for her following the World Championship win, but her break seems to be, pretty busy. It's included an appearance on the Quebec talk show, panel show, Tout le monde en parle. Now, this is a pretty significant talk show in Quebec. It gets, I understand, more than 1 million viewers a show, which in terms of ratings, that's, in this day and age, that's kind of bonkers. And what was funny, Matt Hansen, is that the one of the panelists, and I'm pretty sure it was former Quebec Mayor Regis Lebaume, who was also part of the discussion, he brought up that Vallières Mill had to pay her way to Kigali, to Rwanda, the World Championships there. So it made me think maybe they read your story about just how that works with athletes having to pay to go to the World Championships.
Did he also mention how the new national championship jersey looks stupid? Because that's another hot think piece from me.
No, he stuck with maybe what I would say is one of your more serious works there. But it came up and the panelists were like, what? Listeners, if for more about just why and how that works, check out Matt Hansen's article on the Canadian Cycling Magazine website.
And to be fair, Cycling Canada gave a pretty thorough explanation, and so it's worth a read for sure. Well, we also have a lot of great stuff about Magdalene and her win because, it was just so amazing to watch. And I would like to say, Matthew Pioro, a shout out to me. Remember when we were texting, what I texted to you?
No.
You can text.
You burned your data because I said, Pioro, you got to go to your computer because she's about to have a special day. And this was about 50K to go. I called it. So,
Wow.
You did. And yeah, I was actually out and about. I thought, okay, no, I've got my guys covering this event. We're good. And then you gave me the heads up that you're like, no, buddy, you may want to change your plans for the rest of the morning. And so then I was in the sun on a grassy berm next to a parking lot, helping you and others coordinate our coverage of this historic event.
you could really tell, like when she was just floating at the front, even from the start, you can always tell when someone's going to have a special day. And then sure enough, once she got into that break, it was just, I didn't want to say she's going to win because I didn't want to jinx her, but there was just something that you could just see.
Did you jinx Isabella then? Is that what happened or what?
I probably did, yeah. No, I didn't say that. Yeah, maybe. Sorry, Isabella.
Your superstitions just drive me crazy. I don't believe. Anyway.
It's science. And sports, the certain way you watch sports events, it's science. It's not superstition.
It is fact.
Yep.
I can't believe I'm listening to this rubbish.
When I watch a baseball game or a basketball game or a hockey game, I sit a certain way if they're doing well, like my hands on my knee. And if they're not doing well, I change. And I thought I was the only one that did that. I have talked to so many dudes who are like, oh yeah, I do that too.
Totally.
It obviously works. The Leafs,
This is ridiculous.
And yet people would hear that and go, yeah, it's right. Yes.
It's right.
Am I talking to grown-ups now? Is this for real?
Yes. See, this is because you don't want, the only sports you watch are cycling and I don't know. What else? Chess?
Yeah, contact chess. That's what I like to watch. All right, back to Magdeleine Vallières Mill. No, I mispronounced her name. Back to Magdeleine Vallières Mill. This is a great interview. I was so happy to be able to speak to her during her busy schedule and just before her quote-unquote break. Oh, which also involved some riding around Montreal, which I kind of asked her about I did ask her about in this interview, and she wasn't sure. But yep, the organizers of the World Championships got her out doing some riding in that city well ahead of the World Championships in September. But in this interview, we get some behind the scenes about just what went into that win in Rwanda. I really am interested in how Vallières Mill is still coming to terms with being world champion. Her life is definitely going through a period of accelerated change. And I don't want to give too much away, but there's also just the mad dash to get her a rainbow bike. And there's also a very strange nickname that we discuss. So let's get into it with my interview with Magdeleine Vallières Mill. Welcome back, Magdeleine, to the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast. You're in the midst of your off-season. What does your off-season look like right now?
Yeah, it's been a busy 2 weeks. So far, it's been quite busy this off season. I had a trip with after the last race in Italy with Team EF coaching for 2-3 days, and then came back to Barcelona and did a day with my friend in Barcelona, and then I arrived back yesterday to Girona, and I leave tomorrow for Canada. So it's been it's been busy, but now I go home for a little bit and see my family and friends. So it'll be nice.
Will you be doing any riding when you're in Canada, or is it off the bike time?
So I have 2 weeks of the bike. Halfway through my time in Canada, I'll start riding. They're actually bringing me in a few hours my new rainbow bike so that I can travel with it to Canada tomorrow. So quite cool. It's gonna be a long 2 weeks because I want to ride it already. So yeah.
Right, it'll just be sitting there not being ridden, asking to be ridden. That's very funny.
Exactly. Then maybe I have to break the 2 weeks. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay. We'll keep that off of Strava then.
Yeah.
Okay, I do want to get into some of the experiences you've had in the last 2 weeks. We're speaking in the middle of October. But before I get into those, I want to get into details about, I want to go back to the season. How was your season before you got to Kigali?
Yeah, it was a good season, I would say. Yeah, we had a really good Tour de France with the team. We were going for GC with Cédrine. So to prepare for that, we went to altitude with the team. And then, head over to the tour, in good shape, all the team together. And so the main goal was GC. And we were riding fifth until the last day, where we got a bit of bad luck and a crash before the main climb. So we weren't able to come back, but finished eighth in GC. So it was still quite successful, I think. And then, it was all about the preparation for Worlds. But of course, there was a lot of races before, but the Ardennes went good. I mean, I learned a lot this year, and we had a lot of strong riders. So we had actually quite a lot of successes with the team. I would say it was good in general,
In 2024, we spoke following your first pro win at Trofeo Palma. Just before that race, you almost couldn't believe that you are being given an opportunity to race for the win. And your role usually is that of a domestique. You mentioned back then that after that win, the team might keep an eye out for more opportunities for you. Did you have any races this past season in which you could possibly race for yourself?
Yeah, so the Ardennes, I was allowed to race for myself. So La Flèche Brabançonne, and the Flèche Wallonne, I was allowed to race for myself. So then I got some good races there. And then in Plouay, I had a bit more of a free role. So, so I got a few opportunities. But mostly I think, my role this year was mostly of a domestic.
And when did the World Championship road race become a goal for you?
So last year at Worlds in Zurich, I finished 14, and that kind of opened my eyes a bit to Worlds is a good timing, and also with the national team there where I can get a chance. So I knew when we saw the courses, my coach looked at it and said actually it's almost if the course was made for you. So, cause so many hard things like altitude, the heat, the air quality, and then the course was quite hard, and it was laps, and then, that everyone will get more tired and more tired every lap. So, we knew that was actually a good situation for me. So then it became a goal. Already at the beginning of the season was already on my mind. Of course, I only knew that I was selected maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks before. But in my head, I always kept it as if I was already selected, and it was my goal of the year. So
I find that interesting that it's the right mix of conditions for you, including heat. The heat is something you're comfortable riding in?
Not so much, but then I did a lot of heat training. But it's mostly, I think, the harder it is, the better it is for me. So as hard the hardest it is. And I think if you mix heat, altitude, the air quality, the hard course, I mean, just so many elements that all together, I think everyone's suffering. And then I know I can suffer, so it's good for me also. I mean, it's good for many girls, but for me, it's a too easy race, I think. But it doesn't suit me. So as hard as it can be, is better.
And tell me about your preparations for Worlds. What were some of the things you did in advance?
I went to altitude for 3 weeks before. So, and then I came down to do 2 races. I came down in the middle of the altitude camp for Plouay, and then at the end of the altitude camp for La Grand Prix de Wallonie. Then I prepared with my coach over there. He sent me, we made a program for it, really specific for the world course. And that was and then some heat training in the middle.
And what was the team's plan, the national team's plan just before the race in Rwanda?
So we had a talk with Léa Kirchman, who was our directeur sportif there. And she asked all the girls what we wanted to come out with in this world. And then all the girls started saying that they wanted to help me. And that actually gave me a lot of motivation and made me believe in myself more. So then that really then I said my goal was to do a top 10, come out with a big result, but minimum a top 10 was because last year 14, then this year I wanted to do the top 10. But I said, yeah, but it would be nice to win. I said it a bit as a joke, but then no one laughed. And I was like, oh, wow, okay, they really believe in it. And then, yeah, it really gave me a lot of belief. So, yeah, so that the plan was that the girls would do what they could to help me. So they positioned me like the first part of the race. I was always like in the first wheels coming into the climbs. And they did a really good job keeping me in the front. I had to spend nothing. And then in the end, when it was my turn to go, I was fresh because they did a really good job.
It's true. You always looked well positioned throughout the whole race, sitting comfortably, it seemed most of the time. So yeah, it looked like the teamwork really, really paid off. And I find that funny that they took it so seriously. You're making jokes and like no one's laughing. They're there to help you win.
Yeah, which was crazy. Yeah, just the belief they gave me, like really, yeah, it gives you extra power.
Now, were there any moments of worry for you during the race? Any moment where you were concerned? You're thinking, oh, this isn't going right?
Yeah, well, I went a bit maybe earlier on this breakaway that I had like thought the main breakaway would go, and also then most girls weren't working, so then I was like, wow, I'm spending a lot of energy here. And if like more than half the girls are not working, then they're just like getting a free ride. And when we get catch back, I worked probably too much. I probably get, then it's probably end up for me. But then I just thought, yeah, I need to really commit to this situation I am in. And then yeah, if I get cut back, then I get cut back. And if the girls are too fresh, then they're too fresh. But I knew this was my chance, so I had to take it. So yeah, for sure, I worry a bit when they weren't pulling with me. But I just knew that it was if I wanted to do something, this was my shot. So I had to take it.
Yeah, there looked like a moment with about 7 kilometers to go where I think it was down to about 5 riders, and 2 of them didn't seem to want to help, and everyone was looking at one another. But I think it was you and Fisher Black who decided, no, we really should keep working.
Yeah. Me and Neve were actually like really committed to it. We were both working quite hard on it and trying to push the other girls to work. Yeah, but then when we got to the climbs again, we both like really accelerated and attacked because I think we knew we had to drop some girls because they weren't contributing and it was not making sense to just bring them along. And then we were like 3 with Mavi. And yeah, then also Mavi started skipping turns. And then I thought, oh, maybe she keeps for the end. And then I didn't know because a little bit before she had done this and then attacked. So I didn't know what she was going to do. But then, yeah, I think she was just really on the limit in the end. Yeah.
And then were there other things that the other teams might have done that helped you out? Any decisions they might have made or not made that contributed to your success?
Yes, I'm not sure. I mean, I like from rewatching it, I think, yeah, for sure the favorite, they looked at each other a bit. But yeah, it's hard to say. They definitely made some mistakes, but in the end, that's racing also. Then yeah, you have to go with the situation you have. So if they didn't pull to bring it back, or maybe they could not pull to bring it back, I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. That's a racing. It's just, in what situation do you put yourself in? I knew I needed to race from the front, so that's what I did.
And what was it like rewatching that race?
Yeah, I felt quite emotional because it's hard for me to realize it really happened still. I got to wear the jersey in Italy for the last 2 races. And yeah, it's been 2 weeks now, but it still feels a bit unreal. So yeah, to rewatch it, it feels a bit unreal. And yeah, I was quite emotional watching the end. Like I said it quite a few times, but it's like a dream that just came true. And just to watch it, it's like making it a bit real, but at the same time, I think it's I don't know if I'm ever really gonna feel like it really happened. So yeah, maybe we'll see.
That was actually my next question, because I remember discussing your win at Trofeo Palma in 2024, and afterwards you said that when you crossed the line there in Spain, you weren't even sure that you won. You're like, surely there must be a rider ahead of me. I can't be the first rider to cross the line. You didn't believe it then. You didn't believe it in Kigali. You still don't believe it. Like, when are you going to start trusting your wins?
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, for sure, like this one gave me a lot of confidence. But yeah, of course, like yeah, it's also like this one is a big one. It's like a life changing kind of win. Like my life has changed a lot in the last 2 weeks. So I mean, yeah, I don't know, I don't know.
I wanna come back to that idea in a minute of the changes that a rainbow jersey might bring. But what was it like on the podium in Kigali?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, I'm not really used to be like this was really official, like proper, and yeah, I had no clue what I was doing. So it was a bit like funny because yeah, like I didn't know what to do with myself on on this podium, and then I was yeah. Then Mavi was kind of helping me to like be like, okay, now you stand here. Okay, now you look there. Now we go here. It's like thank you because I really like have no clue what's happening. And then yeah, I was also I think I was trying to go too fast, and then they were like telling me like let them like wait. There's like there's steps to go through before you can like I don't know like ask them to come with you on the top step. So yeah, I was a bit confused by it all, but it was quite special. I mean, with everyone there, and like I mean, it was super special to race in Africa for like it's the first time, and like everyone over there was like super welcoming, and yeah, the crowds were like really cool. So it was super cool watching like everyone there, and I had like my teammates right in front. So yeah, it was super special.
And what was it like getting the rainbow jersey and actually the rainbow bike? Like, how quickly did the team get you all the new rainbow stuff that you have now?
Yeah, it actually was a bit crazy because then I was racing on the 4th. So I traveled to Italy on the 3rd, but then like there was a lot of like things that went kind of wrong in the travel. And then in the end, I arrived like at 7 p.m. at the hotel the night before the race. Then we still had to like, get I had to come and get all the new stuff and then take the picture for like the announcement of the kit. So then we were still doing photo shoot at like 9:30 p.m. But then, my travel had started at 8 a.m. But then I don't know, even like with all of these things happening, I was just like still like so excited about it, I would say, because yeah, you're trying, but I think it was really hard for them also to get like all the things in time. I know Cannondale, they sent Christophe who drove 2 full days to make sure the bike arrived in time, and you arrive at like I think 9 p.m. to with the bike. So then the mechanic built it in the evening, and then a bunch of things like this. And then yeah, they had prepared the whole helmet with the bands, the glasses, and then the wow. Everything was like placed on my seat. Yeah, it was super special. And then during the race, so many girls came up and like congratulate me and like was talking to me about my bike, and it was really crazy too. Yeah.
So you mentioned the two races that you did after the World Championships. There was Giro dell'Emilia. There was also Tre Valli Varesine. And you were 7th at the Giro dell'Emilia and then 10th at Tre Valli. What were the plans going into those races?
Well, Giro dell'Emilia, while we were going for all the girls really were trying to help me achieve the best result. So yeah, I was with the front group. We were like maybe 8 or 9 in this front group. And then yeah, in the last attack at 1.5K when the girls went, I was missing a bit. I missed the legs to follow. They were faster than me. On that day, and yeah, then I gave it all I could until the finish, and that got me 7th. But yeah, it was just a special day to be able to wear the jersey. And then in Trevali actually was really a fun day because Noemi and I we like were on the attack on that day, so always in the breakaway. And then one lap to go, I was in front solo, and then I got caught back at the top of the climb, and I was with Demi and Lisa and Neve. But then, yeah, they were playing a bit the game and they didn't want to pull. So we got caught back before the last climb. And then, I just did a lead out for Noemi. So we got third in the end. So it was a great day. It was actually a really fun day. And then finishing it off with the third position for the team was really, really cool. So, yeah.
That was an exciting race to watch because both of you were, as you mentioned, your teammate Noemi Rook and you were both active in the end. And then you were almost falling back to your old duties, pulling the group back for your teammate right at the end. But you guys, both had a good result.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I knew that she could win the sprint of this group because there was the two girls in front that we attacked in the last climb. So I knew she would win the sprint. So of course, I didn't have to think about it. I just did it.
Since you've become world champion, I'm sure you've received lots of congratulations from many different people. Is there anyone you've heard from that's surprised you? Whether it's a rider, a politician, a celebrity, someone unexpected?
I mean, I've received, a lot of congratulations, but I think the most important for me has been like my close one and my friends, like my family, friends, and then also one that's super special is like the young girls writing to me to tell me it gave them some inspiration. So I would say this is the most important.
Now, my next question needs a bit of a lead up, but it's something you sort of touched on earlier. Your win in Kigali reminds me a bit of Hugo Oule's stage win at the Tour de France in 2022. And it's not because you're both Quebecers, but in a way you're both solid teammates who mostly work for others. But when I spoke with Hugo about a year after his stage win, I asked him about the feeling of winning a race. And he said, "Oh, I don't know anything about that. I never win races." And I gave him a look like, Are you kidding me? You've won a Tour de France stage. But what that tells me is that while that win, I'm sure I know is important to him and it's amazing, it didn't change how he viewed himself as a rider. But in your case, you have rainbows on your jersey and your bike and your helmet and even your bike computer. And in a way, I think you can't go back to being the old Magdeleine, at least not for the next season. So what are the changes that are, and you kind of mentioned there's been changes because of this world championship win, but what are the ones that are already starting to affect you as a rider?
Yeah, well, I think that's how I raced also in Trevally, like really on the aggressive side. I was also going for the win on that day, trying different things, being more aggressive, being in the final. But I think that's how I'm going to race from now on, more like more going for the win. I think I will get a lot more opportunities, but this time I think I will really get more opportunities. And that's also what I want. I think I'm ready for that step. Maybe I was not last year, but this year for sure, that's what I want. Give me a lot of belief that I can be with the top girls. So I want to be racing for the top spots. So that will be my goal next year.
There's been a lot of social media coverage by your team, rightfully so, on this big win. And there's a clip of some of your teammates going to town in the team bus, decorating it for you, decorating your seat, whatever. It looks like they're having a great time. And your teammate who was with you at Trevally, Noemi Rook, she refers to you as Macintosh. Can you tell me a bit about that name? It's not that common, is it, that people call you Macintosh?
It's only her. It's only her. It's also, every time she says it, we're all in the team like wondering why she's saying it. We don't know. It just came up to her one day and she decided that it was my name. She said it's perfect because it's also a type of apple and I eat a lot of apples. I don't know. But that's my new nickname from her. But I'm not sure why or how, but it is my nickname from her.
It seems like she wants to make it work, so maybe it'll catch. I don't know. Maybe it'll stick eventually.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. Maybe.
Like you've mentioned, you've had a busy few weeks, and you're a full-time professional racer. But I know you also balance that out with studies at University Luc. It's a learning that you can do from afar. But I guess you haven't cracked any books in the last few weeks, have you?
No, it's been hard. It's been hard because over there, just like the last week preparing, I was really like in the zone. So didn't really, I think I did maybe, a few hours, but not much. And then the last 2 weeks, for sure, I haven't even went on the platform. Yeah, it's been too busy. So for sure, I'm a bit late in it at the moment. But hopefully now, I have a bit of a break and maybe I find a bit of time to catch up, but we'll see.
So you've kind of mentioned how you would like to race in the upcoming season more aggressively, but have you spoken with the team or have there been discussions yet about possible races you'd like to target or what the general shape of your season ahead might look like in 2026?
Yeah, so my goal will be to race the Ardennes and a Grand Tour, but I am not sure which one yet. I was trying to go for GC in one of the Grand Tour, and the Ardennes will be the biggest goal next year. And of course, Montreal 2026 at home for Worlds.
Right. We'll get to that one in a second, but a Grand Tour, and you've done them all. Do you have a sense of which one of the Grand Tours might suit you?
So it will be either the Vuelta or the Giro, but I'm not sure which one yet. So it will depend on the courses.
And as you mentioned Montreal. 2 days after your win in Rwanda, you were on a video conference with organizers from the World Championships in Montreal and a bunch of Canadian journalists. One of the organizers said your win was like a present that's fallen from the sky for them. You'll be the defending world champion in your home province next September. This even came up at finish line interviews in Kigali. Like already people are thinking of Montreal. Tell me about your feelings about that.
Yeah, I mean, it could not come at a better timing, to be honest. I think racing at home will be like we don't get to race at home so much or never. So racing at home also with the number one in the back, it cannot come at a better timing in front of all the family and friends. And I think we can give Kigali was a great event, but I think Montreal can be, I think we can do something really special. So it's, like I said, it could not be better timing for this win.
Tell me about your connections with Montreal. You've been to the Grand Prix races as a young rider. Can you tell me more about those connections?
Yeah, well, the first pro race I've watched was Les Grand Prix. So Grand Prix de Montréal, I went when I was little. So we were going to hold the bike in front of the presentation, but I had actually broken I think one of my finger, I can't remember which. So I was not allowed to hold the bike. But then they let me go in the back where the riders were waiting to go on the presentation. So this was my first time I saw a pro race. So for sure it's a special. I have a special connection with this event, and that it is world, and then that I will be competing in it as the number one with the number one in my back. That cannot be much better, I think. Winning it would be even crazier, but twice in a row, the World Championship, that's something that's, Yeah,
it's not very common at all, but you're right.
No, no, that's often something that happens once in a lifetime, but we see.
And you mentioned that that's an opportunity that many young riders get, especially in the Quebec region, of being able to go to those races and hand bikes to the pros. I've spoken to some other riders who had those opportunities. So it seems to inspire future riders for sure. Do you think you might, when you're allowed to get back on your bike at home, do you think you'll go up Camille Ou? Do you think you might do a circuit in Montreal? Will there be time for that?
Not sure there will be time for it. I think it's, I'm probably gonna stay more home a little bit. I will come to Montreal, I think, for a weekend, but maybe not this time. Probably when I go back for nationals, we'll go and do a recon of the course, something like this. Yeah.
All right. Well, Magdeleine, thank you so much for your time. I hope you have a very restful off season. Congratulations again on your amazing win, and I hope we get to chat again next season.
Yeah, thanks.
And that's the episode. It is written and edited by me, Matthew Piaro. I had help from Matt Hansen. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome. Very welcome.
And help from Jake Williams. Thank you, Jake.
Always a pleasure. Thanks for, even though Matt's back, thanks for still shoehorning me in there. I appreciate it.
And I really appreciate you being here. And, we'll miss you the next time.
Yeah, fair enough. Who's going to be here to talk about apples? Macintosh being Magdalene's nickname. They call me Red Delicious.
Really?
Well, maybe.
Why would they call you after one of the cruddiest apples available?
This is, I think, where me and Matt Hansen are going to have to bully you, because this is not true. Like, yes, if it's mealy, it's bad, but when it's good, it is good.
You look at a Red Delicious wrong and it goes mealy. Those things are garbage.
You ever had a John Gold? It's a Jonathan and a Golden Delicious. It's your unicorn of apples.
It sounds like the cockapoo of apples. Is cockapoo a real word? Is that a dog?
I thought that was a dog.
I think it's pronounced cockatoo.
That's a bird.
See, that's what I was worried about. Am I talking about a bird or a dog? I meant a dog. Anyway, this is great. Apples and dogs, clearly our forte. I should also mention that this episode of the Canadian Cycling Magazine podcast is produced by Adam Killick, and he does the music as well. Thanks to Ontario Creates for its support. Apples.
Listen, I love that interview. Just to tie things back in, Magdalene talking about how she looked around and she went, can I win? And nobody laughed. I think it's the opposite when Matt Hansen says he's going to win a race, right? I think quite a bit of laughing has happened.
Actually, I love that anecdote from her so much. She's like, yeah, it'd be nice to win, huh? But come on. And everyone's like dead serious. And then, and she kind of made that joke about, it'd be nice to win in Montreal too. Sure. Let's see what happens. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. And everyone, thank you for listening. Ride safely, and we'll talk to you later.